A talk with Jeff, aka Bowman 1951's Sports Card Adventures, about building an all-time set, super collecting Tom Brady, playing the long game with SGC graded cards, creating the best Flippin Card Show, and more. One of my main reasons for starting the Splendid Sports podcast was to connect with smart people who I can learn from. And luckily, that's exactly what I was able to do with this episode. It's selfish, I know, but hey, if you listen, you can learn some stuff too. My guest is Jeff, who is known on YouTube and other social media as Bowman 1951's Sports Card Adventures. The man is firing on all cylinders of the sports card hobby. He's building one of the greatest baseball card sets ever. He's a Tom Brady super collector. He even created and runs his own sports card show in the greater Boston area called the Best Flippin Card Show. Love that name. We talk about all those things, and if you love sports card collecting like me, and you also plan on making a few bucks down the road from this hobby as a long-term investment, we also talk about an SGC graded card opportunity that both Jeff and I are taking advantage of, and you could possibly too. Give this a listen.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for jumping on here.
Sure.
So I just wanted to jump right in. I'm a subscriber to your YouTube channel. You have an awesome channel.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Being from Massachusetts myself, it's I kind of live vicariously through you as you go to those local card shows that I wish I could go to. Really,
What's holding you back?
Well, what's holding me back is that I live in Arizona right now.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I missed that part.
Yeah, I grew up there and about 10 years ago moved to Arizona. I go back to Massachusetts a lot, not really in the last year or two, but hopefully next year I'll resume. We go back, at least a couple times a year in the summer. So maybe I could line that up. So anyway, the name of your channel is Bowman 1951 Sports Card Adventures. And anyone who's watched it knows the reason for that is because you are putting together that set, the 1951 Bowman set. Could you just let me know how things are going with that, when you started and where you're at in that process?
Yeah, sure. So got back into cards about 5.5 years ago now. And I was always enamored by vintage. So I really collected hard in my teenage years, late 80s, early 90s. And when I got back in, I was like, I need to focus on putting something together ultimately. And it was just one of those iconic sets full of, some of the best rookie cards ever, frankly. So I've always loved the little cards from Bowman, early 50s, and just decided to put it together all in PSA grade. I'm about a third of the way through now. I buy maybe 1 or 2 cards every month. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I figured it would take me probably 10 years. I have all the big cards in the set except for the mantle. Who knows when I'll ever be able to secure that one. That might be dead last. We'll see. But I pick up commons here and there. I like to keep it in the range of like a PSA 5 for the commons and maybe like a down to a 3 for the high number, because those can be a lot pricier. And I've noticed a jump in prices in the last few years as well. Just, with everything going up, it's been crazy. I used to get commons for $7 or $8, and now that's doubled.
Yeah, and the mantle, I only have one card from that set, which is the Ted Williams, which is relatively affordable for a Ted Williams card.
Yeah.
But obviously the mantle's the crown jewel. I was looking, I think PSA, even if you were looking at like a PSA 1, I think there's, what are they, like 10,000 now and up?
Oh, easily. Yeah. It's now a 5-figure card. And if I get one that's altered and just labeled authentic, I'm totally fine with that. I do like good centering on the key rookie cards, so it's a little tougher to find. I have a maze that has a 3-hole punch in it, but it's dead centered. And I got that about a year ago now I smashed the bin for $1,500. Like, I couldn't believe I found it. And I bet that card is like even tripled now in the past year. It's so crazy to me.
What a card that is too. Yeah. Just those 2 cards alone in that set is, 2 of the greatest cards of all time, right?
That's
there
right.
in the same set.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's why focused on it when I came back in, and those two guys are definitely my favorite players from the past, other than Ted Williams.
You have great taste. Good job on that. Picking a great
Thank
set.
you.
And you're also a Brady collector too. I believe I saw, right?
Oh yeah, I consider myself a Brady super collector. I've got over 500 unique Bradys at this point. He was my focus when I got back into the modern side of things, and I have an interesting story on that. So, my wife's cousin got me back into cards. He's the sole person who did so, and he's been a Brady collector. He lived in Boston all of his life. Started collecting right after the Super Bowl win in 2001. And he has all of the biggest rookies there are, and that includes the champ ticket. Still has it. He's owned it for 20 years. This card is now millions of dollars, and I owe it all to him for just getting me back in the hobby. It's been amazing. So he's given me a lot of advice on what to focus on in terms of collecting Brady, and I've just run with it. I mean, he's my PC. He's the guy I collect the most, other than Julian Edelman, and just love every minute of it. I'm picking up Brady's left and right whenever I can find them at a good cost.
I'm a Brady collector too. The only thing I regret, I mean, I've been a Patriots fan my whole life. I watched every game Brady ever played. I look back and I think, I collected some Brady cards. I'm like, well, what was I doing? I mean, I was collecting cards. I just wasn't buying enough Brady's, and it was like, that was my guy. Like, what were you doing? And it's really unbelievable to see the guys that have been collecting Brady for 5-10 years, and they have $1 million collections, and these are, these aren't rich. I mean, they are rich now in a way, right? But they're not. These are people I know that don't have, like, they're not high paying jobs or anything like that.
Right.
Just through that, it's awesome. I love to see it. It's like what a story. They should, like, literally make a movie about this.
I've joked on Twitter I should just call my Brady collection now my portfolio, because that's effectively how I need to start looking at it. I might have spent maybe 8,000 to 10,000 on all the cards I have, and I would think they were probably close to 75,000 now, especially after getting a lot of them graded. When buying them raw, I focus on a lot of serial numbered cards. A couple of years ago, I used to get them for a few dollars, and now you go out and try to find them raw, and they're not less than like 50.
And I honestly, I think there's still a lot more room there too. I don't think the boat has completely left on a lot of the Brady cards.
Yeah, and I know we're going to focus on some of that, some of the data we found, just to see how the market is changing and how you might be able to get ahead of it as the market changes.
Yeah, so basically what led into this call was a tweet that you did, I think it was a week or so ago, and I just wanted to read it just so people can kind of understand exactly what we want to look at. The tweet was, I just bought a Tom Brady today where an SGC 10 is about half of what it is in a PSA 10. I'm betting long term that this gap narrows, and I'm almost certain I'll be right. So I want to nail down on that because it really struck me, because that was something I had been thinking, and really a strategy that I've been undertaking over the last few months myself.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're not alone. As more people look into the pedigree of SGC, I think that's what matters here. They're a 22-year-old company, and whether or not people started to go to them just because they're a cheaper option to submit with, while PSA is, what is it, 5 times as much right now? $30 for SGC, $150 minimum for PSA. I don't think that matters in the long run, especially as people are submitting bigger and bigger Brady cards. There should not be this big of a gap. And as SGC has always been great for pre-war cards, for vintage, and just nobody was using them for modern. And as newbies have come into the hobby in the last year or two, they might not even know much about SGC, but I think the gap will narrow as more people become aware of them and understand the pedigree involved, them being around for several decades now. That's what matters to me in the grading game the most.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, I mean, PSA, they're the market leader, and a big reason why is because they were the first to the market, and they started in, what was it, 1991 officially?
Yep, and then SGC came around in 99.
99, and then actually BGS came after SGC, I believe, like right around the same time, but
Correct.
SGC was actually the second major one out. So I don't think people realize how old SGC is, and there is a big three, those three companies, but SGC now is, to me at least, number 2.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally agree. And to me, a 10 is a yes, BGS gives out their 10s. How often is up for debate. I've never been a big fan of the BGS 9.5s. I've seen a lot of examples where there's a major flaw in it and it's still got a 9.5. But I'm in a firm camp that majority of the PSA and SGC 10s are legit 10s. And, the people that are buying these cards, again, a 10 is a 10. They're going to be searching for the best grade out there. And as the PSAs either dry up for affordability or just get out of the range of affordability for a lot of collectors, they're going to be moving to those other companies for 10s. And I would count CGC in there as well.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Now, we put together a handful of examples here, but I think first off, in my mind, the main reason why we feel there's an opportunity here for us, and also, for anyone who goes in this direction too, is the size of the gap. It's not just that, like, hey, PSA outsells for 10%, 20%, 30% more. I mean, we're looking at double at least in a couple examples I have here, more than double, like three, 4 times.
Same with me.
I've been looking at a lot of cards and I've been buying cards for years. Let's put it this way. There's a lot more PSA cards out there, but I've seen more examples of PSA graded cards that, let's say they're a 10, where you look at the card and you go, I don't know, that doesn't look like a 10. That's obviously they made a mistake there. Mm-hmm. I see more of those in PSA than I do with SGC. PSA, they do a great job, but I also think SGC does a great job. And I don't think it makes sense long term to see this gap, really. It just doesn't seem something that can sustain for over time if things go in the current direction that they're going.
Totally
for me.
Agree. Yeah, I'm holding my Brady's for 5, 10, 20 years or longer. So, I mean, some of these could be paying for my child's college education in the next 18 years. So, focusing on SGC is a smart move now. And you just want to get ahead of the curve here as more people realize exactly what we are. And we're kind of giving some industry secrets away here as Brady collectors. And I'll see some of these SGC cards and be like, wow, there's 25 watchers on this. And I watch that intently as well, just to see how many people are actually interested in these cards. And that the watch list has increased on the SGC side as well.
Do you mind giving the few examples that you had?
No, not at all. So I'm a big Topps Chrome fan from 2002 up through the 2015 year when Topps lost their license for NFL cards. So I love anything Brady through those years, whether it be a refractor or some of the colored parallels. So that's what I focused mainly on for my research. So I found a Topps Chrome 2015 pink. This is numbered to $399. A PSA 10 sold for $500 even. An SGC 10 went for $275. So almost half. Mm-hmm. Found a 2014 Topps Chrome refractor. These aren't numbered. PSA 10 going for $355, SGC 10 $167. So that example is more than double. You got the 2014 Topps Chrome X-Fractor, PSA 10 $450, SGC 10 is $228. So right on that cusp of being double. And finally, even if you're into base cards, 2010 Topps Chrome base, one of my favorite years of any Brady cards are the 2010s. PSA going for $275, SGC 10 you can have for $120.
For me, it's a huge opportunity. I've had people ask me that, hear about the card boom and everything, and they collected as kids, and they say, well, I kind of want to get into the graded card game, start investing. Where's the best place to start? And I've been saying, I think you should buy SGC 10s for like, whoever your players are, or whoever you think are, long-term good investments. But I think, not even to say that PSA is going to take a dip or anything like that. I just think SGC is going to climb, and I think they're going to get closer. Yeah,
exactly. Both cards are going to climb over time. It's just that I feel SGC will climb faster.
And so these are some more extreme cards, as far as like all-time cards, because I wanted to get another look at it too from that end of it. Like here's an example. Everyone probably knows the 1980 Topps basketball Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Dr. J card. It's a rookie. I mean, it's a in a 10, it's obviously an extremely rare and expensive card, but there was an SGC 10 of that card that sold a couple days ago, October 31st, It was an SGC 10 sold for $227,000. That's a lot of money, obviously. But that card sells for, and a PSA 10, it sells for like $800,000 right now. So
Oh
we're
my God.
talking three, four times of it. Again, it's the same. If you look, I mean, I'm not a grader, but it's a perfect card. The SGC card, perfect. Everything you look at, eye appeal. Same with PSA. So I mean, really, people are buying. They're spending an extra, $400,000-$500,000 on the holder, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even a big fan of doing a crossover. I've never really done one. I don't like the idea of it. If I ever do one, I'm going to keep it in the SGC holder first to go to PSA. But that might be the first one I say, okay, that's probably a good candidate to at least see if you can get the PSA 10
Yeah.
and, buy another house with that extra profit.
Yeah, and look, I get some people I've heard it said like, hey, I don't love the look. Like I personally like the look of the SGC slabs, as a collector. But if people like, hey, I want more color, I like the red in the PSA, or I just don't like that SGC's black and gray or black and white. Okay, that's personal preference. No one's going to argue there. That's
Yeah,
your own opinion. But from an investing standpoint,
who cares?
it's hard to argue with that. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I did one from each sport. Another iconic card, Mike Trout, 2011 Topps update. That card sells. It recently sold back in September for SGC 10 sold for $2,000, and the PSA 10 sells for $3,000. So you're looking at a $1,000 on average price gap there in that card.
I'd love to
Not
see the pop report from SGC on that. I'd be interested to see how many 10s are out there.
I looked it up. Right now, actually, there's 86. So there's not that many compared to the, I think, 5,000 or something like that PSA 10s.
Yeah.
So even being less, there's a lot less SGC 10s out there. It still sells for $1,000 less. Same grade, just different company. So
I
another not
believe it's
double,
a
but
fairly easy card to gem with PSA 2, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's above 50%. If I say easy, it's more than half will receive a 10.
right. And I understand. Look, if you pull this card from a pack and you say I want to get it graded, I understand if you say I want to get it graded by PSA because I'm going to look to maybe sell it right in the next
Mm-hmm.
period of time, because it makes sense from that perspective. I'll pay the $100 more or whatever to grade it or whatever it comes out to be, and then I have a card if it comes out of 10 that it's worth $1,000 or more in the near term.
Right.
But if you're buying a Mike Trout, looking to buy a Mike Trout 10 grade card, I think it makes a lot of sense to look at SGC.
Yeah. In that realm I live in for the Topps Chrome cards, they don't make sense to go to PSA right now at $150 per
Right.
anyway. And I beat the rush. What was it? The end of February last year. I think I put in an order of about 60 Brady's right before the prices went up. We had no idea, even at the time, are they going to go up $5 a card? We didn't realize that the next level was going to be $300 a card from, I think I paid $18 or $20 each. So, and that was a bulk order. So yeah, there's a huge difference in terms of what it costs right now to grade between the two. So yeah, those base cards are lower. I have some serial numbers that are like to 99 or 199. There's no way I'm sending the PSA right now. Would I send a 2000 Bowman or Bowman Chrome to PSA? Yeah, maybe over an SGC. But that would be really fun to see the differences too between a 2000 Bowman. And I do have one more card to share with you is the 2000 Victory Upper Deck. PSA 10s, they sell in the range of $3,000 to $3,500. SGC 10 just sold for $1,800. So again, just half the cost for those key Brady rookies. You want a Brady rookie under 2K right now in a perfect gem 10 grade? Search out SGC.
Yeah, and I did a football one. Lastly, I did a Mahomes to look more on the modern side with football. And this is a rarer card, but it's a 2017 Panini Select Silver Field Level number 247. It's double, right? So the PSA has been selling around 11,700, and then the SGC 10 sold back in October 21st for $5,800. So a double for the same card. It's really it's amazing to me. I don't. I know people it's ingrained in them that PSA is the leader, but man, if you can get that card for $5,800 or probably even less now that he's not having the greatest year, I think that's a great buy, something like that.
I think I'll continue to stress it's ingrained in the newbies that have come in during the pandemic.
Yep.
For guys that have been around for a while that understand vintage and pre-war, how important SGC is there, that I don't know why people don't take them more seriously. The tuxedo look, I am a huge fan of. The only issue I have with the SGC holders is that they're missing a QR code. I like that on the PSA where I can go in and scan it, put it into my set registry, and it's up there and done with. But you can't do that with an SGC slab.
Do you think that if SGC ever decided to add like a subgrades, not even to the holder itself, but like when you had a card graded with them, if they on their website, in the database that they have, if you could look up that card and see the subgrades, do you think that would be something that would make sense for them, or would put them even, maybe another advantage over PSA?
That's a great question. The problem is anything graded prior to this change, right? So I've thought about this with PSA. Why don't they have a 9.5 category? Well, if you create a 9.5 category now, what's going to happen with all those Alico 3 on YouTube calls, the tweeners, the in-betweeners, between a 9 and 10? If that 9.5 exists, then everybody's going to want to reholder them and send them back in to see if their 9s will bump to a 9.5. So same thing with SGC putting in subgrades. While it's a great theory, did they kind of keep track of that for any card they've graded in the past? Probably not. So you see everybody rushing back to see what their subgrades were.
Right. Things are busy enough right now. They probably want to keep it simple.
Right. And I do love that SGC has their 9.5. We haven't even talked about that. They're Mint Plus. I think it's important for any grading company to have that in-betweener grade. If you've got a minor corner issue, but everything else is perfect on a card, and it shouldn't end up as a PSA 9. It should be a 9.5, but that doesn't exist with PSA.
Well, I hope we can do a part 2 to this, because I know we could talk more, but this is sort of like a lunch break type episode, so we wanted to keep it relatively short. But I do want to ask you before I let you go, could you tell me about the Best Flippin Card Show? Is that something that, are you the creator of that, or do you run it?
Yeah, I am. I'm the creator, the head promoter. I've got a bunch of guys helping me. Filmington on YouTube helps out as well, and a couple of their local dealers. Right as we were coming out of the pandemic, we were all talking like we need a local card show in the Boston area that happens on Saturdays. There's a bunch of them where we're running on Sundays all around us, but I was like, Saturday's a big day too. Let's get one going. And apparently it's been so successful, we've got competition now for Saturday shows. Another one just opened up. Now I've been working with those guys to make sure we don't have crossovers on dates, because we share the local dealers. So it's been just a phenomenal experience to run a card show. It's been a dream of mine for many years. I've been going to them since I was like 8 years old. I met Mark McGuire when I was a young kid at a card show, and it just really stuck with me. And I just love going to them. And as you can see from my YouTube channel, just from touring them, and it was an easy step to go out and start my own up.
And so you said it's every Saturday, and where is it actually located?
It's actually one Saturday per month.
One Saturday.
We just signed a 6-month extension through April of 2022. I just wanted to have like a 6-month run at first to see if we're successful, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't losing money overall. It happens at the Crown Plaza, Woburn. It's right off the interstate between 93 and 95. Very easy to get to. About 10 miles outside of Boston, north of the city.
Awesome. Well, I know I'm going to target that next time I come back. I will have to line it up, because I haven't been to a card show in so long, and I really want to get to one so badly. I see all these videos like your channel, and I just get so jealous. I wish I was there.
Yeah, there's the huge one coming up at the Shriners in Wilmington this coming weekend. It's probably the biggest annual card show in the Boston area. I think they have like 250 dealers or so. It's going to be massive. I don't think I'm going to make it, but it'll be nice. I'm sure other videos will be coming out on YouTube of people touring around.
Well, Jeff, thank you again for taking the time during your lunch break here to talk. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Thanks so much, Adam.
All right. Thank you. Bye now. All right. A couple of final thoughts from me. The SGC strategy that Jeff and I talked about is really a long-term double play. What I mean by that is we buy cards that we believe will increase in value over many years, like Tom Brady's. And we're also targeting SGC 10s in those cards because we believe that SGC 10s will rise in value even more than PSA 10s over the long term. And Jeff mentioned that if he sells some of his Tom Brady's, it won't be for many years, like 18, he mentioned, to hopefully pay for his kids' college, which would be really cool. So if you have your eye on the long run with sports card investing like Jeff and I do, hopefully you found that conversation valuable. Thanks again to Jeff from Bowman 1951's Sports Card Adventures for taking the time to share his knowledge and insights. And if you're smart, you'll make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel, follow him on social media, because the man knows his stuff about sports cards, and he puts out great content. Thanks again for listening to the Splendid Sports Podcast, and talk to you next time.